If I were 20 again, I would not tell myself to hustle harder. I would tell myself to stop making a few expensive money mistakes before they became my normal. Because in your 20s, money problems usually do not explode all at once. They creep in. A swipe here, a late fee there, a decision to wait until next month. Then one day you look up and realize your salary has been growing, but your life still feels tight. That gap is the whole problem. Most young adults are not short on ambition. They are short on systems. So let me walk you through the biggest financial mistakes I would avoid at 20 and what to do instead. First, I would stop spending without a budget. A budget is not about punishment. It is about clarity. If you do not know where your money is going, your money will find a way to disappear. Food delivery, impulse buys, subscription creep, weekend plans you barely remember on Monday. None of it feels huge in the moment, but together it can erase an entire month of progress. And that is why tracking spending matters so much. You do not need a perfect spreadsheet. You need a simple system. Know what comes in. Know what goes out. Decide what stays. Because the truth is, discipline gets easier when the numbers are visible. Second, I would avoid high-interest credit card debt like it is a fire. Right now, the average credit card APR is over 21%. That means if you carry a balance, you are not just borrowing money. You are fighting compound interest in reverse. A $5,000 balance can quietly eat about $90 a month in interest if it just sits there. $90 every month, and that money buys you nothing except more pressure. The worst part is how normal it starts to feel. You tell yourself you will pay it off next paycheck, then next month. Then you make only the minimum and the balance barely moves. The card company gets richer while your options get smaller. That pressure is real. Recent data shows about 13.1% of U.S. credit card accounts were 90-plus days delinquent in early 2026. That is not just a finance problem. That is a stress problem, a sleep problem, a future problem. So if you are carrying card debt, do not treat it as normal. Treat it as urgent. Pay more than the minimum. Freeze the card if you need to. Stop adding new balance while you work the old one down. Third, I would be careful with buy now, pay later. It can feel harmless because the payment is small. That is the trap. Small payments make big spending feel painless. But painless now can become stressful later. The data is telling us the same story. More than a quarter of U.S. consumers have used BNPL, and 1 in 5 users said they used it for groceries or food delivery. That is a warning sign. When everyday basics get financed in pieces, the budget is already under strain. This is where a lot of people in their 20s get caught. They are not living beyond their means because they bought one huge luxury. They are doing it because a dozen small decisions all borrowed from tomorrow. And once your future income is already spoken for, freedom gets expensive. Fourth, I would build an emergency fund before life forces me to. The Federal Reserve says 37% of adults still cannot cover a $400 emergency with cash or its equivalent. Think about that. One flat tire, one urgent dental bill, one broken phone, one trip home. Without a cushion, every emergency turns into a crisis. But the good news is that an emergency fund does not have to be perfect on day one. In the Fed's 2024 data, 55% of adults said they had set aside 3 months of expenses. That means this is possible. Not easy, but possible. A cushion changes behavior. It keeps you from putting every setback on a card. It keeps you from asking family for help with every surprise. Most of all, it turns a disaster into an inconvenience. Start with $100, then $500, then 1 month of basics. The point is not to impress anyone. The point is to buy yourself breathing room. And now the biggest mistake of all. Fifth, I would not wait to invest. Only about 38% of adults ages 18 to 29 report having a retirement account or pension. That means simply starting puts you ahead of most people. And starting early changes everything. If you invest $200 a month at age 20 and earn around 7% annually, that can grow to about $758,519 by age 65. If you wait until 30 and do the exact same thing, it ends around $360,211. Same monthly amount, huge difference. Here is the wild part. Even if you invest $200 a month only from age 20 to 30, then stop contributing but leave it alone, it could still grow to about $398,308 by 65. Time is doing the heavy lifting, not luck, not hype. Time. That is why even a small contribution matters so much in your 20s. You are not trying to build the whole mountain in 1 year. You are planting the tree while the weather is still on your side. The employer match matters just as much. It is the closest thing to free money most people will ever see. The average promised match is about 4.6% of pay, and the most common formula is 50% on the first 6% you contribute. In plain English, if you put in enough to get the full match, you are leaving less free money on the table. You do not need to max out everything on day one. You just need to begin. Get the match. Then raise your contribution slowly. Future, you will thank you. Sixth, I would not ignore the little money leaks. Overdraft fees, silent subscriptions, random bank charges. Even choosing the wrong investing product can chip away at your future. Recent analysis pegs the average overdraft fee around $17. That is not a huge bill, until it happens 3 times in 1 month. And with investing, low cost usually wins over time. Many active funds sound smart, but long-term data keeps showing that a lot of them trail the market. In your 20s, every unnecessary fee matters, because time is your biggest advantage. I would also not skip basic protection. Renter's insurance can average around $14 a month, which is a tiny price for protecting your stuff and your momentum. One theft, one fire, one bad day. That cheap policy can save a very expensive mistake. So here is the simple action plan I would use at 20. First, track every dollar for 1 month, not forever, just long enough to see the pattern. Second, build a starter emergency fund, even if it is only a few $100s. Third, attack high-interest debt while you keep the minimums current. Fourth, invest enough to get your full employer match, then automate it so you do not have to think about it. Fifth, keep your spending honest. Buy less on emotion, save more by default. That is the real game in your 20s, not becoming perfect, becoming stable. Because the goal is not just to make money, the goal is to give your future self options. To make sure one bad week does not ruin your month. To make sure your 30s are not spent cleaning up your 20s. If I could go back, that is what I would say. Protect your cash, respect compound growth, start before you feel ready. Subscribe to Finance Frontier and keep building your money system.